But more recently, we started a business called Strive. You familiar with this one or no?
No.
I'll tell you about this. So are you guys familiar? Have you heard of the term ESG or the ESG movement?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's basically where a bunch of asset managers like BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, they're using the money of everyday citizens to vote. So they buy up shares in America's public companies in your 401k account or your pension fund or whatever. Right. And then they vote for these environmental and social and governance policies in those boardrooms that did not advance your financial interests, but are just about pushing a lot of the left-wing policies in corporate America. Right. That's where a lot of woke capitalism came from. Mm-hmm. So I started the leading alternative anti-ESG company called Strive that offers the same kinds of investment products. But other than voting for those policies, we're going to vote for what maximizes profit. And the first year after launching the first fund, we crossed over $1 billion in assets under management. That was twice as fast as it took JP Morgan to get to the same place when they entered the same line of business. Mm-hmm. And so I think part of what happens in our movement, so then when I run for president, people say, oh, but BlackRock started investment funds and this guy also started the same kind of investment fund as BlackRock. Mm-hmm. Should we be suspicious? And at some point, we got to open our eyes and think, we're not going to win this battle as Republicans or conservatives, as pro-American patriots, if we just retreat from the terrain versus showing up and actually winning in the terrain that we need to reclaim. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I invested in Rumble. You guys are familiar with Rumble?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So you're on Rumble, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. So I invested in Rumble back when it was a private company because I believe that you need actual challengers to YouTube because one day it's going to happen. If it's not tomorrow, it's going to be years from now that somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and decides that somebody who has identified or voted in the wrong election the wrong way or whatever is going to be deplatformed. We need competitive marketplace of alternatives. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of my message to our movement a little bit is that we're going to lose if we disengage versus showing up and saying we need competitors to YouTube and to BlackRock and to the way that pharma builds its old business model of effectively coordinating with each other to jack up effectively the cost of developing new medicines, which is what my whole first company was about challenging. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's my job as a leader not to complain about people's inability to see that and say, why can't you guys see it? As opposed to saying I'm not doing a good enough job yet of explaining it if the majority of our movement still doesn't get it. And over the last year, I think we made a lot of progress in that. I really do. And so weirdly, despite, I think a lot of my friends probably have a similar reaction to you guys of being angry and frustrated to say, okay, you got somebody who's given you what you have been asking for the longest time, and you couldn't step up and embrace it. I think that's what a lot of people who worked really hard in this campaign, who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this over the last year, I think that is their sense of frustration. And I have some element of that, I have to admit.
Yeah. You're only
but
human.
If you want to be a leader, you have to also say and acknowledge that it's my... If I failed to explain that sufficiently to people in the short time that we had, then that's on me.
But
I'm not going anywhere, and we're going to keep at this in one way or another to make sure that we still get there as a country.
I don't think it wasn't you; it was them. They wasn't ready for you.
Yeah. I appreciate you framing it that way, but the way I take it as a leader is that's my call to level up, and I did what I thought was my level best. Well, my level best better be better next time around because this country needs it.